This week on Spoke TV, find out the consequences of drinking more than 1 cup of coffee to fuel your energy and better ways to get that energy boost.
Providing you with energy, actually eating for energy is the most important.
And Kitchener residents in the Homer-Watson area will find new stores this summer. Plus, a local MP came to Conestoga College for fun and a good cause.
A lot of students are graduating with high amounts of debt, and it's not really good for the economy.
Hello and welcome to Spoke TV, Conestoga College's weekly news show produced by second-year journalism students. I'm Varsha Sriganesh.
And I'm Krishna Postolovsky. Women and men gathered at Market Square in Guelph April 7th for the annual Slut Walk event. The event challenges and protests the culture of putting the blame of sexual assault and abuse on the victim and lets victims know they are not alone. Skylar Nolan has more.
Community members gathered in Market Square on Saturday for the Guelph Slut Walk, a march held to raise awareness of and protest against rape culture, victim blaming, and slut shaming.
We're hoping by drawing a crowd and speaking about these issues and drawing kind of attention to ourselves, that this will kind of raise greater public education around these issues and hopefully make some sustainable change.
The first Slut Walk protest was held in 2011 in response to a Toronto police officer's comment to a group of students, implying that how a person dresses can be responsible for their sexual assault. 7 years after the first Slut Walk, organizers of Guelph's march are saying there's still a lot of work to do.
I think progress in terms of visibility has been made. I think a lot of that has to do relatively recently with movements like Me Too and Time's Up. However, I mean, like you mentioned, this was 7 years ago and here we still are marching about it, so clearly it's not something that's been eradicated.
This year's Guelph March was organized by 3 University of Guelph students. The organizers chose to focus on the intersectionality of rape culture, gender, and race.
One thing that I really would want folks to know about Slut Walk is that even being, a minority, a woman of color, I felt safe enough to voice certain opinions, which I will be voicing later today too.
Participants finished the march off with speeches from community members telling their stories. For Spoke TV, I'm Skylar Nolan.
Progress has been made on the development of the new Pioneer Park Plaza. Construction of the revamped Pioneer Plaza, located on the corner of Pioneer Drive and Homer-Watson Boulevard, has reached a turning point as the new buildings have begun to take shape. A new larger Zez Market, LCBO and Shoppers Drug Mart are scheduled to be completed later this year. The plaza will also feature a Dollarama, First Choice Haircutters and pet value businesses that are currently operate in the plaza, such as the Rabbit Fox and various medical offices will operate out of new buildings once construction is complete. Choice Properties estimates that the plaza will reach 100% completion by the year 2020.
Are Canada's caregivers underpaid and underappreciated? A new report shows that many feel they do not receive adequate services and support them in their roles. Though minimum wage rates have increased in Ontario, many Canadians in the caregiving sector feel they are not reaping the same financial benefits. Studies conducted at McMaster University's Aging Community and Health Research Unit show that health and social services do not address the needs of older adults or their family caregivers. Many caregivers experience stress and anxiety, leading to their own poor mental health and physical health. Michelle Hakchova, a personal support worker, says the work they are doing has inspired over the last 10 years, but they only have seen a small increase in pay.
The pressure from government, from long-term care is unbelievable. The pressure from the bosses, from the owners of the companies, from the families, the elderly. We get a lot more people with dementias than we used to, so the care is more complex, more difficult, more violent. They are becoming more violent, and it's all coming towards us.
In 2015, the province announced that it was increasing the minimum wage base for PSWs by $4 an hour over a 3-year time span. Following the announcement, workers' hours were cut, leading people to see a decrease in pay and struggling to complete tasks in their allotted time. Many feel a change is urgently needed to better support caregivers in our communities.
The popular social media app Snapchat is getting sued for copying BlackBerry's technology. BlackBerry, the Waterloo-based company, just added Snapchat to the list of companies it's suing for an alleged patent infringement. According to the lawsuit filed by BlackBerry, it states that Snapchat has violated their intellectual property and also taken their concept of real-time location mapping notifications and advertising on devices. BlackBerry has not said what financial compensation they are looking for, and these claims have not been proven in court. BlackBerry was potentially working towards a partnership with Snapchat, but then the lawsuit had become an obstacle. Snapchat is yet to comment after the lawsuit was filed.
Coming up after the break, find out if coffee is a habit worth quitting. As the weather warms up, so does the real estate market. According to the Canadian Real Estate Association, home sales declined 6.5% from January to February, down nearly 17% in the last year. Sales stood 7% below the average after a 5-year low. New mortgage rules recently caused less people to buy at the beginning of 2018. The national average price is projected to be at about $498,000, down 2.3% from last year. For now, prices in the region have stabilized and are looking like they will increase. Rapid price gains are likely to have an effect on the yearly comparisons.
Meals on Wheels, a local company that supplies meals for elderly and the sick, is currently facing a shortage of volunteers. Edward Heuris takes a look at the role they play in the community.
Inside this kitchen at Community Support Connections, chefs and volunteers prepare over 350 meals every day.
So there's 11 different programs and services. Meals on Wheels is one of the biggest, but it's really taking care of people and their basic needs.
2 Red Seal chefs head up the kitchen, supported by nearly 30 volunteers. Hot meals are prepared, sealed, and packaged. They are then put in these insulated bags for delivery. Outside the building, meals are loaded into these wheels, then driven out to those in need. Volunteers offer up their time and believe it's well worth it.
You get to drive out to everyone's houses, you get to have a chat with them, and just seeing the smiles on their faces when you do provide them with the meals, it's a great part of their day.
Many volunteers spend their free time to pick up and deliver the meals. Inside the office, some volunteers help out in whatever way they can.
Now, I've been with Meals on Wheels for 5 years, and I like what I'm doing here. I like all the people here. They're so friendly.
Whether it's in the kitchen, in the office, or on the road, there's plenty of opportunities to help out.
I would say that people should get involved with an organization like Meals on Wheels as a volunteer. It's incredibly rewarding. It's a really great way to give back.
If you would like to volunteer, or if you are interested in this service, please visit communitysupportconnections.org. For Spoke TV, this is Edwin Heuris reporting.
Plans for a safe injection site in Cambridge have been placed on hold due to an unexpected action taken by the City Council. Cambridge City Council has passed a temporary bylaw beginning safe injection sites, both permanent and temporarily, from being established in the city's core. The decision comes in the wake of a meeting held in the Cambridge City Hall for residents of the Galt community, where the injection site was planned to be placed in the future. Cambridge City officials made the bylaw after regional councillors shelved a proposed motion by Cambridge Mayor Doug Craig to exclude 3 core regions of the city from the pool of possible locations for injection sites. Cambridge councillors say they expect fallout from the region for taking this action, but insist it was taken to protect the city. The bylaw will be in place for up to 1 year.
Caffeine addiction is not something that crosses the mind of many coffee drinkers. I talked to some local experts on the subject. According to the Coffee Association of Canada, 71% of Canadians drink coffee. For some, having a coffee is second nature.
Coffee's great. It's flavorful, it's energizing, and full of body, and it's robust.
Robert Kabinga, a second-year broadcast television student at Conestoga College, speaks fondly of his appreciation for coffee. Kabinga enjoys the uplifting aspects of caffeinated beverages.
Keeps me awake, keeps me focused. If I'm struggling trying to get through a class, I'll have one right before, or like a latte, something with more espresso in it just to energize me. But yeah, that's really why I have a coffee.
Kabinga, like many, doesn't see the addictive properties of coffee. Caffeine is a widely consumed drug that has no regulation on it.
Caffeine is a drug because it has a direct effect on particular receptors in the brain. It enhances memory and it imparts motivational value. So by the descriptors the neurobiological descriptor of what a drug abuse should do, caffeine definitely qualifies.
Francesco Leary, a psychology professor at the University of Guelph, explains why caffeine qualifies as a drug. Though drugs may be addictive, it isn't all bad.
All drugs have positive effects. I mean, something that enhances your memory, something not getting wrong with that. Problem if you have too much of it, that it starts to interfere with cardiovascular functions.
For people that use coffee as a primary source of energy, there are better and healthier alternatives. Registered dietitian at Blueprint Nutrition, Roseanne Robinson, explains how to fuel up for your day.
So certainly tea, there's some other kind of lower caffeinated drinks. But aside from using coffee or tea or any of those other caffeine sources as providing you with energy, actually eating for energy is the most important.
Keeping a well-balanced diet and consuming the appropriate amount of macronutrients, which include proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, and ensuring that you have optimized blood sugar levels will also keep your energy levels up. The average Tim Hortons cup can have up to 270 milligrams of caffeine in a large cup. There are some guidelines to follow when considering how much to drink.
So a cup of coffee, depending on how it's made, can have between 100, 120 to 180 milligrams of caffeine. For adults, we should have no more than 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. If you're pregnant or expecting, no more than 300 milligrams a day.
It's important to know the facts before consuming coffee. Even if many don't think anything of having a daily coffee, it does have an effect on your body and mind. All drugs of sort will have an effect. Luckily, if you're looking to stop consuming caffeine, the withdrawal is tolerable.
And depending how strong the stimulant is, the more profound the effects will be. But usually go away, these symptoms, within a week, things of the sort. So they're bearable if you want to stop, but I don't want to. I like my coffee, I like my energy drinks.
Understanding what you consume is important. Like many, waking up to a coffee will be a routine, and it will not be a bad one if you consume responsibly. For Spoke TV, I'm Krishna Postlowski.
After the break, we find out why a local MP was shooting hoops at the college. In sports, 5 more first-round NHL playoff series kick off tonight. Original 6 rivals clash in Boston as the Bruins take on the Maple Leafs. Toronto is one of the two Canadian teams in the playoffs. The Winnipeg Jets edged the Minnesota Wild in their series opener last night, 3-2. On the hardwood, the NBA's opening round matchups are finally set. The top-seeded Toronto Raptors will take on the Washington Wizards Saturday. The Wizards swept the Raptors in their last playoff meeting 3 years ago. In baseball, it's travel day for the Toronto Blue Jays. They will continue their 9-game road trip tomorrow in Cleveland. The Blue Jays are off to an 8-5 start to the year. In the OHL, the Kitchener Rangers are in Sarnia for Game 4 against the Sarnia Sting with the series lead at 2-1. Forward Cole Sherwood has made a large impact on the Rangers' playoff run, netting a team's high 9 goals for the boys in blue. And now to Kristen with an in-studio guest.
Today, in our Spoke studio, we are joined by Jen Davis to talk about her new board game, Exit Matters, having a conversation about death in the form of a board game. This is a very serious topic. Why use this game to have this conversation?
Well, I really think that death is a very significant topic, and it's a very meaningful topic, but a lot of people have a hard time starting the topic or starting to talk about death, and so maybe they find it intimidating. So I wanted to create like a vehicle, a safe vehicle in the form of a board game that people would be familiar with, and it's a guided process, so it's quite comfortable. There's questions that get sparked in terms of the thinking, and you get to start writing things down in the menu and also start to talk about something that you may yourself find a hard time doing, and you're doing it together. You're doing it, since we all will face death together at some point in our life, you're doing it together. You're having this conversation together.
Okay. And recently, there was an opening for your game. Would you like to tell us about that?
Yeah, so I created this board game over 2 years ago, and I've actually played it a lot of times, probably with over 300 people, as I've been tweaking it and perfecting it. So just about a month ago, I had another launch at Fresh Ground Cafe, which is run by the Working Center in downtown Kitchener, and so they have lovely space that can be rented out. So I wanted the community to come together to play the game.
Okay, now tell me, why is this conversation important?
Well, it's really important actually for a lot of reasons, and one is you actually get better care at your end of life if you've had this conversation and shared with your loved ones. It also tends to decrease our medical costs because you end up dying in the place that you wish to die, in the way you wish to die, or that can happen, it's more likely to happen. And it's really important in Ontario because we are more likely to have other people have to make decisions on our behalf at our end of life. So they need to know what really matters to us.
Okay, great. And thank you for being on our show. We appreciate your time, and I look forward to trying the game. That's all we have for now. And now back to you, Varsha.
Conestoga College students participated in a basketball event that allows tuition credit grant for $3,000. Spoke TV's Tushar Sethi was at the occasion.
Wouldn't it be easy to pay for school tuition by just shooting basketball in the net? Well, Conestoga Student Incorporated and South Hespeler MPP Marwan Tibera hosted the free tuition grant basketball event at the Recreation Center.
And I wanted to bring attention to that. A lot of students are graduating with high amounts of debt, and it's not really good for the economy because they're unable to purchase homes, cars, etc. So it's not good for the economy, so I really want to raise that awareness.
It is also one of the ways to get away from end semester stress. A lot of condors showed up at the event and participated.
I'm here at Conestoga College Rec Center where this cool event is going on. Students have registered for only $5 and they will get 3,000 tuition credit. But wait, here's the condition. You have to shoot as many as basketballs that you can. Whosoever wins will take $3,000 of tuition credit. Let me try it.
More than 50 people registered and participated in this event. Angelica Simpson, future Condor, was excited to participate.
Definitely go to school. I'm taking summer classes this summer, so definitely to pay that off, yeah.
Wondering where the money is coming from? The money is coming from student participation registration, that is just $5.
The money is coming from students itself. There'll be some other dignitaries that will come, local politicians, local community members. They'll be coming and they'll be donating as well.
Tibera also said that he's trying to make this event an annual thing and he will try Prime Minister to come and host this next year. For Spoke TV, I'm Tushar Sethi.
Thanks, Tushar. So, Varsha, did you get to compete?
I did, and guess what? I did 4 shoots.
You mean 4 baskets, right?
I mean 4 baskets, yes.
Well, I'm sad I missed another opportunity. Hopefully next year I get some more free money.
Well, the next time, you should come out.
I definitely will, and they will be announcing the winner sometime next week.
For more stories and information, visit our website at spoketv.ca and follow us on Twitter @SpokeTV.